Assalamu alaikum students. I am Humaira Tahir, your English teacher. Hope you are all well with your families. Okay, today we are going to start unit number 5. This is a poem, Daffodils, written by William Wordsworth. His time period is 1770 to 1850 and he is an English poet. Wordsworth is famous for his love for nature and most of his poetry is written on the objects and the scene of beauty of nature. Wordsworth is called the poet of nature. He is highly sensitive to the beauty of nature and he discovers the bright and vivid colors of all forms of nature. He finds the serene bliss hidden in the various objects of nature. He believes that nature possesses a soul capable of giving pure delight to human beings. So he thinks that man reaches the heights of delight through the communication with the objects of nature, and these are the aspects of nature described in this poem as well. Okay. Now, first of all, we have to go through the analysis of the poem. Mood of the poet is happy and joyful. Look at the structure of the poem. There are 4 stanzas and it's 6 lines in each stanza. Rhyme scheme is A, B, A, B, C, C. Now here students, how you make the rhyme scheme? By taking the sounds of the last word of each line. Now the first line ends at the word cloud. Second line ends at hills. Third line ends at crowd. So cloud and crowd are the same sound, so we take them as A. Hills and daffodils as B. Trees and breeze as C. So the rhyme scheme is A, B, A, B, C, C. Many figures of speech are used: simile, metaphor, personification, imagery, hyperbole, alliteration, and assonance. So when we'll go through the poem, I'll explain to you all these figures of speech one by one. Okay? Now look at the central idea of the poem. This poem is a tribute to nature, the beauty of nature, and the poet says that the nature has a permanent impact on human mind and soul. Wordsworth finds the serene bliss hidden in various external forms of nature, and man reaches at the heights of delight when he communicates with nature, and it leaves an everlasting impression on human mind and soul. Now come to the next. Look at the poem and look at the first stanza. The first stanza is, I wandered lonely as a cloud. Wandered means to roam about, to walk aimlessly. Lonely means alone. Now the speaker here is the poet himself, and he says that he was wandering lonely, alone as a cloud, just like a piece of cloud that floats on high over vales and hills. Just like a cloud that floats in the air, he was also moving he was also moving along the vales and hills, when all at once suddenly he saw a large number of golden colored daffodils. Why is it golden? Because it has yellow color and they were shining like the stars. I saw a crowd here is a large number of daffodils, just like large number of people in a crowd. So he compares the daffodils, the blooming daffodils, with the number of people in the crowd. So when you are comparing two different things, but they are apparently different, but inwardly they have the same quality. So it is metaphor. A host of golden daffodils. Host means a group of golden daffodils beside the lake beneath the trees. On the side of the lake and under the shady trees, those daffodils were growing. Daffodils, in Urdu, we say the Nargise Abi ke phool, and they have golden yellow color, fluttering and dancing in the breeze, and they were moving their heads, and just like they were looking like that they were dancing in the breeze, which was blowing very light and very playful. So here in the first stanza, first line contains a simile, comparison of the poet with the cloud using as or like. When you are comparing two things using as or like, this is simile. When you directly compare something apparently different but inwardly have the same quality, so that here the crowd is metaphor, beneath and beside the trees, this is visual image, and giving human quality to non-human things. Here the quality of dancing is being given to the daffodils, so it is personification. Okay, next one. Continuous as the stars that shine. Now the daffodils are being compared with the stars. They were also growing in large number, just like the stars that twinkle on the Milky Way in the sky. When we look at the starry sky, the Milky Way, in the Milky Way, there are large number of stars, they were twinkling. So here the daffodils are compared with the stars. Continuous means they are in large number. So they were stretched in never ending lines. Stretched here, that they were extended, they were spreaded in a never ending line. Now never ending line is here a figure of speech which is called hyperbole. When you exaggerate something or make small thing in take small thing as a large thing, that is called hyperbole, exaggerating the fact. So never ending line, poet has used this word uh, for the daffodils, but here he is exaggerating the fact that there should be some end of that those daffodils. Never ending line is hyperbole here. Along the margin of the bay, on the margin means on the side of the bank of the lake. 10,000 saw I at a glance. Now here the hyperbole again is used. 10,000, he is estimating the number of daffodils, but he is again exaggerating, so he has used hyperbole. Tossing their heads in sprightly dance. Tossing their heads. Again personification, giving human quality to the non-human things, right? Now come to the next. The waves beside them danced. Now here the waves beside them danced. The waves of the lake were also playfully rising like a dance, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. The sparkling waves in glee. Glee means here in happiness, in joyous mood. The waves were also moving, but the dance of the daffodils was more beautiful than the waves. A poet could not but be gay. Gay means happy in such a jocund company. Jocund means here joyful company. A poet could not do anything except enjoying the beautiful or joyful company. I gazed and gazed. Gazed means to have a glance or have a look on it, but little thought what. But at that time, the poet was could not imagine that what wealth the show to me had brought. That he could not imagine that that show of the blooming daffodils had given him a kind of wealth of pleasure, wealth of uh, cheerfulness, and such kind of feeling he has brought from the scene. Again, visual image and personification here. Next, for often when on my couch I lie. Often means at many times whenever I lie on my couch in vacant or in pensive mood. Sometimes I am vacant, not thinking anything, or in pensive mood, or sometimes I am in a thoughtful mood. So poet says that whenever I am in either in vacant or in pensive thoughtful mood, I lie on my couch. They flash upon that inward eye. Inward eye is here the mind of the poet. So again, metaphor is used here, comparing inward eye with the mind of the poet, which is the bliss of solitude. Bliss of solitude means when he is lonely and he is in thoughtful mood. So it is a kind of bliss or pleasure for him. And then my heart with pleasure fills. And then when the scene of the daffodils flash back on his inward eye or in his mind, his heart fills with pleasure, and then start dancing with the daffodils. The scene of dancing daffodils comes in his mind, and his heart also start dancing with the daffodils. Now here assonance is used, which is bliss. Now he E sound is repeating here, so it is example of assonance. E sound is actually a vowel sound and dances with the daffodils. D sound is consonant sounds. There is a repetition and dances with the daffodils. So D sound is repeating, so it is alliteration. Example of alliteration. Understand? Now come to the next one. The questions within the lesson. How do you compare daffodils with the stars? The daffodils looked beautiful like the stars in the Milky Way, and they were growing in an endless line along the lake. So, as the poet has compared the daffodils with the stars, so uh, they were beautifully shining like the golden stars that twinkle in the Milky Way. How does the poet feel in the company of the daffodils? The poet feels very happy and cheerful in the company of daffodils, right? Now, next one. Here, I am providing you the summary of the poem, and it is the most important question that comes in your subjective part. So, you need to learn this summary by heart without any spelling or grammatical mistake. So be vigilant, be careful in learning the summary. It is compulsory question and you must learn it by heart and in a very nice manner. And after learning the summary, you have to write it 3 times so that there should be there should be a perfection in your writing. Okay. Now next one. Now up till this, we have completed the poem figures of speech, central idea, and the questions within in the lesson. Okay. Now you need to learn the summary and also you must know the central idea and the questions which are given with the lesson. Right? Prepare yourself for the test next time. Okay. Allah Hafiz.